Something is happening on the roof. There have been some mornings I wake up and I just want to cry thinking about all the things that I have to get done. Honestly, I have been regretting my decision to open the store.
My sister gave me her old white vanity. I didn't want it because it's hard to photograph things with mirrors, and this one was really big and really square.
Always static when I try to speak. Not an addict, I just need some sleep. No, you're mad at me, say it's not that deep. But if
We started by giving the dresser a base coat of petticoat pink and kissing booth mixed half and half. Then I started blending in lighter colors on top, like petticoat pink and cowgirl coral, and a blended mix of those two colors.
nobody loves me the way that
I'm using a couple different brushes here, but especially my VIP brush. It's wide and flat, and it's great for blending and putting on base coats. I'm adding little black dress to the top, but I don't want the line to be super sharp, so I'm using my water bottle to blend and create a soft transition.
I want to get my old life back. I don't want all this responsibility, God. Why did I do this? That right back there is what we're going to talk about today. My sister gave it to me. It was white, it was filthy, it was dingy, it was encrusted with makeup, and I didn't really want it. Hey, it's free. It was just a square design with a square mirror. I didn't like it. What I decided to do was actually paint a shape onto the mirror. I had no idea if I could do it. So I just took some chalk and I sort of winged it.
I'm following my rough chalk outline with a paintbrush. I did not worry too much about the design, partly because I just didn't want to go to all that trouble, and I was also hoping that the transfers would cover up anything that looked out of balance or not consistent.
this was something different that you'd never feel again. Were you being honest?
DIY paint will adhere to most surfaces, even glass or mirror. Sometimes it takes a couple of coats and a sealer, but in this case it worked perfectly.
2 years ago, I was in France with Dion. A bunch of us went to France on this antique buying tour. If you want to see the video about that trip, click up here. We were in Monet's garden, and there was a little antique shop. Dion's in there, and she's holding this old artist box with the palettes and the paints and the brushes. It looks like it's 100 years old, and she's got this sad look on her face. That is so beautiful. Yeah, but it's too much money. He won't come down on the price. Dion, if you don't buy this, I'm gonna buy it because this is too good to walk away from. I asked her 3 times, are you sure you don't want to get it? No, I'm positive. She walks out of the antique shop. I asked the guy if he'll come down. No, it's old. It's from the turn of the century.
I poured some of Dion's new Bohemian Brights onto a paper plate and used my VIP brush to blend them over the base coat. These are great pops of color with the built-in top coat. I'm using my VIP brush to go in both directions to move the paint across the surface so I can get a really soft blended look. The big wide brush makes it a lot easier to blend, and it also cuts down a lot of time when you're putting on a base coat. Another tip for blending is to use colors that are close together or similar in shade. It's really helpful to swirl your brush or go in a different direction. Just make sure you straighten out the strokes before it dries.
I applied the transfers to the mirror, Redoute 2, and it's nothing but roses. That covered a multitude of scents. Trying to paint an ornate frame on it was not good, and the transfers did the job.
When I apply transfers, I like to kind of go off script. I like to cut them up in different pieces and wrap them around the edges of furniture. This creates movement and gives it a really organic look. I also save every little scrap from previous furniture projects. I like to add in other transfers and other flowers. This differentiates my piece. and makes it look totally different and custom.
If you put the transfers on just straight paint that hasn't been coated, the transfers will not stick to the furniture and it will pull the paint up. I guess I'm lazy, but I'm also always in a hurry. I do not want to put a whole thing of Big Top all over this. I decided to just let that paint sit overnight. There is a difference between paint being dried and paint being cured. I knew that 24 hours would allow the paint to set up. I just went ahead and applied the transfer the next day without a top coat. You're taking a risk when you do that. But if you're like me and you don't like the extra steps, you can try it.
The transfers will glide on a lot easier if you put on a top coat and let that dry first. I did not do that for various reasons, and it worked. The longer you let the paint sit, the easier it will be.
I wanted to keep it for myself, but I felt like God was saying, buy it for Dion. She was waiting out on the street, and I gave it to her, and she started to cry. I'm not telling you this so you think like I'm such a kind, amazing person. No, I was doing what I felt like God was telling me to do. I thought, okay, we're in France, I'll just look for one for myself. I'll find one, and I had this sense of knowing that eventually I would find my own art box. I looked all over France, everywhere we went, no art boxes. It's been 2 years, and I'm always looking for an art box, and I haven't found one. Then something really cool happened. I hope it will encourage you.
Before I continue with my story, I need to tell you that I did put a coat of liquid patina over the part of the mirror that I painted. Because it's not porous, I knew that I would have trouble getting the transfers to stick without a top coat first.
President's Day, I went to the bank to pay a bill. I get there and the bank doors are locked. Like, man, I just wasted 20 minutes of my time. I'm gonna go to the thrift store next door and see if they have anything. I walk into this thrift store, I find a few things, I'm checking out, and the girl says to me, come back tomorrow because a whole bunch of things are gonna be 50% off. So yesterday I went back to the bank. In my head, I hear God say to me, don't forget to go to the thrift store. And when God's talking, you don't know if it's him or your imagination. I was just there yesterday. I don't need to go back. Well, I have something for you there that you've been wanting and looking for a long time. That art box, like the one you found in France.
Feel I know, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God.
Opening this store has been humbling, to say the least. Zeb and Jamie drove 10 hours last week to help me. Many of you have volunteered your time and supported this business. It is way harder than I thought. Every day I walk in faith and fight the anxiety that comes with it. As I go through my daily work, what is constantly with me is a sense of knowing that I'm not alone and that many of us are facing challenges harder than we've ever faced before. I want my store and everything I do to create connection and community and encouragement. That's why I need to get back to this story.
If this is really you talking to me, I would love that art box, but what I need more than that is encouragement. If I walk into that thrift store and I see that art box, I will take that sign from you that I am going in the right direction. And I go over to the thrift store and I'm walking around and there it is. This art box that I have been looking for 2 years, and it's only $50. And I literally gasped out loud. It had the paint in it, it had brushes in it, folded into an easel. More than that, it wasn't just the piece itself, but it was the peace of mind and the encouragement that I needed. As I was texting Dion and telling her what happened, a notice popped up on my phone about the war in the Ukraine beginning to start. And I thought, how can God care about this art box compared to all of the people who are about to go to war and their country is going to be attacked? The thing that makes sense to me is that God cares no matter how big or small. No matter where you're at, we all need encouragement. It says in the Bible that He takes all our tears and He puts them in a bottle. The tears that we cry are different from what someone else may be going through, but they all matter. And so I hope that this story encourages you.
The last step is to apply wax to seal the paint and seal on the transfers. You could also use Big Top or liquid patina. Wax is usually my go-to because I like the smooth, buttery finish. When you first apply the wax, it will go on blotchy, let it dry for 24 hours, and then go back and buff. I usually put an old sock on my hand and give it a nice pat down until it's buttery smooth.
I'll get you home when you are tired. Stand next to you when you're in the fire. I'll get you home.
I don't normally let songs play so long, but this one is powerful, so I'm leaving you with a lot of images. All the supplies I used can be found in the links below.
I'll tell the truth when I'd rather lie. I'd rather be known than keep it inside. Oh, get you home, never leave you alone, and I will
What are we doing, guys?
get you
Drove all the way from Utah to help me, and of course we gotta go to Kobe's.
Tuned and subscribe. The next video will be more footage of Zeb and Jamie's trip to California and our trip to Kobe's.
The Junkin' Pups.
To find DIY paint in your area or to sell it in your store, click the link below. Thanks for watching.